Hey, how you doing, guys? I just want to show you how I get my hot peppers ready to go on the dehydrator. Um, Basically, you can see I got here some Jamaica hot chocolate, some yellow scorpions, some red scorpions. First thing you want to do is you want to go through the peppers. You want to find some that have blemishes. They feel soft. They just don't look right. So this one right here, as you can see, there's a little hole in it. That's going to go. That's, as you guys probably have been following along last year, this is what I call the see ya type pepper. Just throw it over my shoulder back into the woods. So, we're going to get these washed up in the sink. We're going to rinse them off. And we're going to take a, I had it somewhere here. Just a regular towel. We're going to dry them off. And but I'll show you that back in a minute. Okay, now that we got them rinsed off and pretty much most of the excess water drained out of the colander, I'm gonna go ahead and take just a regular microfiber towel. I like these best. You can use a regular terry cloth. You can use a cotton, jersey type cloth, whatever you want. But if you want to make sure you get them all nice and dried. Obviously, they're going in the dehydrator. You want to give them a head start, right, by not having any excess moisture on there. It also gives you good opportunity to look over the pepper and see if there's any kind of blemishes on it. So these are yellow ghost peppers. Get that guy dried off. We'll get a red ghost pepper here. So the microfiber just seems to work well. And you want to, when it's washed, you want to make sure there's really no residual smell of detergent or anything else on that, because it will unfortunately transfer over to the pepper. So let's get this guy rinsed off here. All right, so I'm gonna go through the rest of them. Jamaican hot chocolate. I'll go through the rest of them, get them all dried off, and when we come back, I'll show you the next step. Okay? Hey guys, one thing I forgot to mention when drying these off, as you can see I got a lot of them done here, still have quite a few to go, is peppers such as the scorpions, they have all these little folds and everything in there. You also want to make sure that even though you did the complete rinse, you want to make sure there's no little critters in there. I have found that every once in a while you find a little spider or something that's hanging out in there. Another thing you want to do is, this is the reason why I leave these, well, I'll explain the other reason why I leave these peppers whole with the stem on here, but what you do is you grab it here and you kind of shake it, and you can get a lot of that moisture, that water that kind of pools right up in there. You can kind of get that out, makes the drying process a lot easier. Here's another one. Here's the, if you look down on the cutting board, see that water that comes out? You wouldn't really have been able to get that with the cloth just getting in there. All right, so let me finish these up and we'll back in a moment. Okay, and through the marvels of modern technology, we sped up through that entire process, and we're finishing up with the ghost pepper right here. Now, there's a couple different reasons. I should really say there's just one reason sometimes I leave the pods intact when I put them on the dehydrator. Basically the most important is just for aesthetic reasons. It just looks nicer when it's a whole pod, it still has the stem on it. Whether you're going to sell them, gift them to some people, just give them away. They kind of look better. You can kind of say that, hey, you know what? Even though it's all shriveled up, doesn't look like a ghost pepper anymore. You can kind of tell that it's a different pepper than that. So that's one reason why I leave these on. Leave them intact, I should say. Something else that's very important is the type of pepper and the thickness of the outer skin, the outer wall of the pepper. The super hot, it seems as though the hotter the pepper, once you get towards that higher end of the Scoville rating, the thinner the wall is. They're almost very fragile, delicate. In fact, when I was drying them, I was able to feel that a couple of them I may have cracked. That's how they're pliable, but they do have a certain point where they'll actually, like a really ripe tomato, if you squeeze it too hard, it might pop. So we have the super hots, the ghosts, the scorpions. We have down at the lower end of the scale of what I have here, we have Tabasco and Thai peppers. They're pretty much in the same, well, they are in the same family. They taste almost exactly the same. I like drying these and make my own cayenne seasoning. whether it's cayenne pepper powder or just a regular crushed red pepper like you get at the supermarket. I'll tell you, friends, you crush these up and smell them and stick your nose into even a higher end McCormick's, stick your nose into one of these things blow it away. Fresh blows it away every single time. I don't think as long as I can grow cayennes and all these other peppers, I'm not going into crushed peppers and powders anymore from the store. Okay, so back to the wall thickness. When you dry a whole pod like this, it's going to take a lot longer, obviously, than when you cut it open and you expose the inside flesh. When you expose the inside flesh, that's where all the moisture is. It's a lot easier for it to dry out, evaporate, whatever. With the thicker walled peppers, these are serrano peppers. These are the closest relative, I guess, would be the jalapeno. And if you've ever seen a jalapeno cut in cross sections, your nacho slices or whatever, the thickness of the outer wall is much, much thicker. So these would be next to impossible to dry whole, and what'll end up happening is you'll get mold on the inside before the pepper has a chance to really dry out the way it's supposed to. So these I will cut in half, cut lengthwise, cut the cap off, cut them lengthwise in half. The cayennes don't have to do anything. These are ready to go right on the dehydrator. I'm going to put the ones that are ready, I'm going to put them in here just for a quick second, just to keep them aside. I want to show you what I do with the other ones. Just get a regular steak knife, and with the ghost pepper, I'm not a plastic surgeon, far from it. I don't know anybody that is, but I would assume that if you want to keep the aesthetics, but you still want to make some little vent holes in here to be able to have the inside of the pepper exposed, but at the same time you want to kind of have it when it's dried out to resemble what it looked like when it was a fresh pod. So what I do is I just make a couple little slices, just like that. Not too big, because if you make them too big, when the pepper dries out, it opens up and you can have the seeds fall out, whatever. So you can do that with the ghost pepper, with the Scotch bonnet Jamaican hot chocolates. Just find a little corner, find a little crease in here, put a hole. Again, because when it dries up, you're not going to really notice that hole. All right, so we had a ghost pepper, we had a Jamaican hot chocolate. Same thing, you can do that with the scorpions. Just put some holes in there. This way, again, when it's dried out, you'll never even see those holes, and it'll kind of look pretty cool. So that's that. What I do with the serranos, like I said, I'll take I don't know if you guys can see this in the camera, hopefully. Let me take a quick peek. Yeah, you can. Okay. Serranos, I'll cut the cap off. Get back over here, guys. Far from a gourmet kitchen, but to be honest with you, with just 2 humans eating here, we make do just fine. All right, so cut the cap off. Now let me show you what I mean by the wall thickness. Let me cut it lengthwise now. Wow, this thing needs to be sharpened. Because a sharp knife is a what kind of knife? I know most of you say, well, sharp knife is a safe knife. Sort of true, but a sharp knife is a predictable knife. All right, so back to the thickness of the pepper. I don't know if you guys can you see that? See how thick the outer wall is right there? That'll take forever to dry if you left it whole. So we'll cut these lengthwise. We'll do that. Again, the cayennes do perfectly fine by themselves. You don't have to touch them at all. That's pretty much it. Let me start getting them laid out on the dehydrator tray, and we'll be right back.